I'm John Martin. I am joined tonight by my guys, Matt McCall, college coaching veteran, college basketball analyst, as well as John Henson, longtime NBA vet, North Carolina Tar Heel. Fellows, appreciate the time. As always, good to be with you. Matt, let's start with you. This is a get back for Iowa State after a blowout last year at the hands of Iowa. They got their get back tonight in a major way, just handled Iowa from the jump. What did you see from Iowa State tonight, and what does a win like this sort of say about what they might be able to do the rest of the way?
Man, that was an offensive clinic, to say the least. I mean, something about those guards from St. Louis, Brad Beal, Jason Tatum, Keyshawn Gilbert, what a night he had. But just the balance for Iowa State, I think, was super impressive. 19 assists, 47% from three. It was just an offensive clinic for Coach Otzelberger's team. But, go on the other side with Iowa, just defensively right now. I mean, gave up 84 to Creighton, 87 to Purdue, 90 tonight. Iowa's got to get that defense figured out. But, I mean, what an unbelievable job by Iowa State. That was an offensive clinic, to say the least.
Yeah, John, you certainly. I was going to say, John, you have been a part of so many rivalry games. A little bit more high profile than Iowa State, Iowa, the most probably iconic rivalry in all of college basketball. So, just for those guys, right? I mean, they had to sit with that all year. So, can you just sort of take us through what that's like as a player when you're a part of such a heated rivalry like that, and having to sit with it for a year before you can play again?
Yeah, I mean, getting blown out in a round. I still have never forgotten getting blown out by Duke my freshman year when they had Shire and Nolan and Zubek and Lance Thomas. I mean, it was literally one of the worst losses of my life. I can never forget it. But we came back the next year and we beat them by 20. So that was on our minds 100%. When we walked into Duke, we kind of like, we're not losing this game. Right, like that was our energy. So it seems like that's what Iowa State had in mind. Like you said, it was a light night, not for college basketball, but for Iowa State. And on the other end with Iowa, they used to could go blow for blow with you offensively, so they looked a little better. But now it seems like they're not defending and they're not scoring at a high rate. And this is kind of what you get, even just from the jump set. I just didn't feel like Iowa was into it. I don't know if they had a long practice. Maybe it's snowing up there. It's a little chilly. But this game was over quickly, very fast, as you guys both know.
Yeah, John, I want to stay with you real quick, man, because, when you played in college, I got to believe that it was very different. Like, I'm just looking at it right now, and Iowa State just lived at the three-point line, 8 of 17, 47%. In terms of the way the game is played today, I mean, is that just going to be, a lot of these games when you get into, January, February, March, whoever's hotter from three? Is it really that simple? How much does it change the game just from your perspective?
It leaves a lot of room for these wild upsets, right? Or these, teams that aren't necessarily in the top conferences to be able to compete, when you take that shooting and, into factor. And so, tonight, Iowa State jumped on them early, hit a bunch of threes, and it was over, right? And also on the other hand, if you're not hitting threes, it's going to be a long day for you, especially if you don't defend. So that's just a state of the game. If I could rewind and we were shooting threes all the time, I would have had a lot more fun. So I think it's good for the game and it's good for the sport, just competitive wise, man. I think, as we've seen this year, I don't know, like I feel like every year we say it's crazy in college basketball, but you've seen some interesting results this year, man. Even from teams that are really good, like how FAU comes, had and plays well, then they drop the ball again, right? Like it's an interesting, paradox, the 3-point shot in college basketball right now. So I would want some shooters. That's what I would boil down. You got to have some shooters to be successful, and that's what it's looking like this college basketball season, man.
Matt, it's been a tough short walk for Iowa this year. Sort of every time they've kind of stepped up in competition, whether it was Creighton, Oklahoma, Purdue, and now Iowa State, it just really hasn't ended very well for them. Is this a team that, can put something together, by the time we really get into the heart of Big Ten play? Are there challenges that are going to be hard to fix on the fly? Just what do you sort of assess about this Iowa team?
Well, first of all, they got to fix their defense. I mean, they're not guarding anybody. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, they gave up 84 to Creighton, they gave up 90 tonight, they gave up 87 to Purdue, 79 to Oklahoma. I mean, they have to figure out their defense. I mean, this is too good of a league, and you see teams in the league. I'm going to use Wisconsin as an example. I think Purdue's by far the best team in the league right now. I think Wisconsin and Illinois, you got to put them right there. Indiana, with what they're doing, they've got to be in the category as well. But a team like Wisconsin, and I know they made threes the other night versus Michigan State, but they win games without making threes. They win games without scoring. They win games with their defense. That's the same thing, that at times Indiana has done. So I think for Iowa, for them to compete in the Big Ten, they've got to look at their defense. How can we get more stops? What are we doing right now? Why are we giving up so many points?